And another team that's been struggling this season is the Cleveland Browns, and that's been an interesting situation. I was really expecting them to do a lot better this year. There a lot of people really praise their coach and had really high hopes for him. And I wouldn't even say it's entirely the coach's fault, but we all expected this to be a lot better team than a 500 team with who they have. They have arguably the best rusher in the NFL. At worst, he's the second best rusher.
One of the best edge rushers in the league.
The best offensive line in football.
The best offensive line in football.
A very good defense.
Yep. All over and at all three levels.
I agree. Can't agree more with you. And they've pretty much been getting through the season with a 500 record.
I mean, isn't Odell doing really well right now?
He is. I wouldn't say really well. He's doing a lot better than he was in Cleveland. That's for sure.
He was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I believe. I know a lot of Cleveland fans are probably going to be concerned, or maybe they'll even be a little upset with what I'm saying. But I think Cleveland Browns need to start thinking about looking at it for a quarterback real soon.
I think so too. And I'm not trying to go after Baker. I don't think he's a horrible quarterback, but at the same time, he's not a big difference maker, if you know what I mean. He's one of those guys, we've had these discussions before. He's one of those guys that he's only as good as the guys around him are. He's a guy you can win games with, but he's not a guy that can win you games.
In all respects, Mike, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree. It's not like Cleveland does not have a solid offense. Like you said, they've got one of the best running backs in the league. They've got a good receiving core. With Odell, they had a great receiving core. And they had the best offense. They have the best offensive line in football. If that was the case, Baker would work around what he has. Like Dalton would have done that. Dalton is the ultimate quarterback for put him in a spot where he's got great weapons and he'll do good. But Baker's not doing that. Baker is still struggling.
Hold on, so you're telling me Andy Dalton? You think Andy Dalton at this point is better than
Prime
Baker?
Andy Dalton? Prime Andy Dalton.
Prime Andy Dalton.
Now, no.
And I'm not. He hasn't been bad. I mean, he hasn't been great, of course, but he's just been like mediocre.
Yeah, there's a few quarterbacks like that. You don't know. My concern is if Baker was on a less talented team, if Baker was on an average NFL offense instead of where he is now, the man would probably be a bottom 5 quarterback.
And that's exactly the point I was trying to get at is, he's one of those guys where his success really heavily depends on who's around him. He's not one of those guys that can, go out and make plays by himself. And they also, they're kind of, they don't really have too many great receivers either. I mean, yeah, Jarvis Landry's good, and so is Donovan Peoples-Jones. Higgins isn't that bad either, but they don't really have any. I feel like they don't really have a true number one guy. That's kind of holding them back too. Hooper's older. He's out of his prime. I don't think he's that special. They do have Njoku though.